So again, we're going to do the tab bar controller, which is 3.7 in the book. And before we start, if you want to make your own icon, if you look at the and hold on, I gotta find my desktop stuff here. Got way too many things on here. If we look at the, didn't I download the artwork from? Here it is, student resources. So in the download from the book, you'll notice they have a tab bar controller option here. And you'll see that they have different icons for that. I'm going to drag that out to my desktop because in the tutorial they ask you to use that. Again, we can make our own if you want. If you look at them, you'll see that here's a black bee or white bee, white bee on a black background, right? And then they have an opposite one, which is a black line with white and a black bee. One is for a highlight so that when you click on it, it changes color, right? So you know which one you're there. So look down here again with the clock icon, you'll see one is orange, right? And the other one is white with black. Do you see that? See the difference over there? So there's like one that tells you, hey, I'm on that section, right? Do you see the highlighted one? And then a normal one, okay? And you can change the color inside of Xcode. By default, it's going to be blue, but I believe you could probably change it to any color. Like the world clock here, it's kind of orange, right? So that's why there's two of them here, and they kind of have them like that. So, you know, one way you could make your own, of course, is like we always do. We can steal from the Noun project if you want. Let's steal one. The Noun. Oops. Noun project.com, and we can steal one from there as well. So let's say we're making a tabbed app on what are we doing on time. I guess we could do time like that. And so you can go, and they have a clock. And so sick of the normal clock. Let's find an interesting clock. Is there such thing as an interesting clock? I don't know, maybe this one. So again, if we can steal this one if we want. And so I would probably go into Illustrator and make a new object and paste it in there. If I can import, place. And then convert it into a vector inside of Illustrator. We've done this a couple times. I'm sure you know how to do this by now. If we could go into our image trace and maybe ignore white. So make it into an object using image trace, and then to manipulate it, you go to expand to turn it into objects that you can manipulate. And so once you're in expand, you have individual objects. So right now it's just black and white, but of course there's no real white. You don't be fooled by the actual program. It's actually transparent. So if I was going to make one for this and I wanted white inside, you might want to use the round rectangle like this and kind of give it maybe the entire object like this. I don't know what the angle is on the edge there. We can open it up, but that doesn't look quite right. Let me see. Let's open up one of theirs so we can see the angle. So what I'm talking about is if you look at their samples here, you'll notice, well, let's open one up in Illustrator. So if you open one up in Illustrator, the sample that they send you, again, it was only Oh no, the edges are there, but if you look again, the edge they have, at least in their samples, they have round edges there, and it looks like it's black on white, and it's square. As you can see, it looks kind of square, and so theirs is 30 pixels by 30 pixels. If how do I know it's 30 pixels by 30 pixels? If I go over here to the to measure anything, I brought up the rulers inside of Illustrator, and if I could find rulers, view, rulers, and then you can see 30, well, not quite, yeah, I guess it's 30, looked like it was 30, yeah, 30 pixels, well, it looks like 28, I guess, something like that, by 28, yeah, but it's square, doesn't really matter, it's vector anyways. So if you're going to make something like that, again, I'm also in CMYK right here, so that's not very good. You should be in RGB. If you want to change your color space, it's under Edit, Colors. No? How do I change color space? Color settings? No. How do I change color space? I know there's an option for that. I'm already forgetting my Illustrator. How do we go back to RGB? I know there's a way to convert to RGB.
Maybe it is RGB already, because convert to RGB is grayed out in that menu.
Well, it's right here. It's in CMYK. It says it right there. I know there's a way to convert. I've done it a million times. There you go. Thank you. Document color mode. There we go. RGB. So again, this is black. So maybe we'll make this all white. Send it to the back. So maybe something like that. Right? That might be good. So it has an all white background. Then what I would do is I would just flip it for the other one, where I'd make this all white. And then make this black. Like that, so that you have an opposite one, right? So I would save one like this and then save one like that, and then I could use that, make sure it's a PDF. If you wanted to make it sure that it's square, you can make your artboard square. You can make your artboard any size you want by going to the artboard tool right here. If you double click on the artboard tool, it brings up dimensions. You can put in what size you want. What was theirs? 28 by 28, I think, something like that, wasn't it? And I know it says point, but I guess it doesn't really matter as long as it's square. Ooh, that's pretty small. How about we make it bigger? It doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to get a square thing. So again, I have a square artboard here, so I might need to take all my art and kind of squeeze it in there. Cheat a little bit. See if we can make it square. There we go. So I made a square artboard, and as you can see, it just doesn't quite fit in square, does it? Guess we could make it something like that. Okay, so I have one that's kind of black. We could change the, I guess we can manipulate the square in the back. There we go. Be nice to have rounder edges. To make the edges rounder inside of Illustrator, you can use the Properties window, I believe. It's under Properties, and it should give you the option for the edge of the edge. Where are we at here? Do you see the edge? Or how about this? We make a new one. And usually it gives you the option to change the edge, the roundness of the edge. Oh, here it is, corner radius. Let's double that. There we go. I guess we could even double that even more. Let's even make rounder edges. What was it? 24. How about 48? There, that's better. Rounder edges. That looks a little better. And then send that to the back. There we go. How's that look? Better? Okay, let's save this again. They have two ways of saving it. As in their example, they have B selected and then just B, right? So the B selected is the one that's black, I believe. See it right there? So since this one's white on black, I would probably call this one selected as well. So maybe if I go under Save As, make sure it's going to be a PDF file, and then I can put it in. I'm going to put it in the same folder. If I can find it, there it is. And so we call this clock selected, maybe. And they have a space in there too. You see that? So maybe clock selected. And then again, I would make an opposite one. So I'd make this white. And then make the artwork inside black. And then so that one they call it just, I would just call it clock then. PDF. And let's call it clock. There we go. How about that? Okay, so you know, with the tab menu, you have this little icon. In addition, you'll be able to have a word that goes with the icon, or you don't need a word, but you have the option of putting a word with each icon inside your tab menu. So that's how I would make my own icon if I was going to make my own icon. Two different kinds, one selected and one normal. And you can do it in Illustrator very quickly. And you all know Illustrator hopefully by now, or if you don't, learn it. It'll be your best tool, right? It's everybody's favorite tool?
Yes.
I hope so. Okay, let's get to the tutorial here. Again, we're going to use Xcode. Now, when we start Xcode here, and I'm going to start with a new Xcode project here, you'll notice there is a tabbed app right here. Right here. But when I did the tutorial, they used a single app. I have used this before, but I can't remember why. But for this tutorial, they want you to start with a single view. And so, oh, my icon on my screen over here went out. Hold on. And we're using iBooks. There we go. Again, I'll have the tutorial over there, and I'll do the demo over here, and we're recording it right now. So in this case, we're going to learn about the tabbed menu bar controller, which is, you know, I think quite easy and a little bit simpler. The nice thing, again, also is that that tabbed menu is always on the screen. Again, they could talk about using the Watch app as their example. And then there's some pre-made icons in there. You saw me make a clock icon, right, using the Noun project and things. But there's also a whole bunch of pre-made ones in there, and we'll look at those. There's, you know, like Photo One and things like that that are normal to all kind of apps. So, again, we're going to start with a new project inside there, and we're going to give it a name. They tell you to call it Rainbow something. To practice building app interface, create a simple app that navigates between several root view controllers. Start by creating a new project called Rainbow Tabs, selecting single view application template. You want to copy over the PDF file. So again, we're calling it Rainbow Tabs, like that. And you don't need this or this. Say next. Find a place where you want to put it. Thought I had some apps. There we go. And once you have it in there, then you can go and start your main storyboard or your assets. We're going to bring in the assets first. You'll see right here is assets. These assets are in the student folder from the book, right? The student folder from the book. So to bring all these PDFs in, you can select them all and just drag them in to the assets window. Again, you can drag them in, and so here's the one I made, and then the ones they made. Mine looks a little bigger, but it should scale hopefully to the size of the tabbed menu as well. So again, they have different ones for yellow, R for red, they have G for green, they have B for blue, or you can make your own. Again, I just dragged them into the assets window, into this area right here. And I'm going to turn the page. Open the main storyboard and then document outline select. So we're just going to change the background color, as well as we're going to attach the tabbed bar controller. So in this case, we're going to go back to the main story. Do you guys have those files? Remember, you can download it from Canvas if you don't have those. The student files? Here, okay, I'll show you. Okay, so if you go to Canvas, and then log in. And you go to the class folder. You'll see it says download files and class book. The first one under lesson 1. If you click on that, you should have a link to the student zip files right here. If you download that, uncompress it, I'm using the assets from lesson 3. And inside the lesson 3 folder, there should be one that's for tabs. It should say tabs, and that's where the PDFs are. So go and download that now and bring it into Xcode. So where you put it again in Xcode, once you download those files, and again, just put it in the assets folder right here. Okay, so after you do all that, they want you to change the background color. So in this case, I'm going to click on the view controller, the one that's currently there, and we're going to make it a red background. How you change the background color, of course, is over here in the attributes area. And inside there, if you click again here, if you click down here in the main area, you'll see background, and you can change to red. Is that red? Kind of looks red. Next, just like we do when doing the tabbed or the table menu, we're going to embed a tabbed menu. To embed the tab menu, you'll notice that I'm going to select the view controller by clicking up here, so it's blue. See how it's blue? Blue. Then I'm going to go under Editor, and I'm going to go to where it says Embed In. And remember, we were doing navigational controller, right? So this time we're going to do tab bar controller right there, tab bar controller. So if you click on that, it'll launch something called tab bar. You'll notice it has one item and it's blue already. So again, tab bar controller, and the reason why there's one item so far is because you got a red one. You got one view controller. So this is going to be the tabbed view controller. It'll be over top of each one, and notice it has one item already. That item is for the red one. Kind of just like we did before. And so they talk about that in the handout there as well. You can make the background red. And then tab bar begins the scene. The tab bar controller maintains a list of tabs through the view controller property, an array of the root control displayed by the tab bar interface. The last step added the red view controller to the tab controller array of root controller. For each root view controller, there's an associate UI tab bar item instance. You now have a tabbed bar with one tabbed bar item. So it adds, as you can see here, you got the tab bar controller, and look what you got right here. You got your tab bar. See over here, if you're looking at the options over here, you can see right here, see the tab bar. So the actual tab bar is maintained in this controller right here. It's maintained here. Okay, not necessarily in the scene, right? Here's the scene up here. It has one item, which is for the tab thing, but you'll notice the tab bar controller is where the bar is actually made, if that makes sense. This is where the thing that controls. It's like it's like over top of all the other ones, right? Okay, let's move on. Next, we're going to make another one. So you're going to make another view controller. So I'm going to come over here to view controller. If you don't see view controller over here, you can always type in view, and it will bring up your view controller right here. And I'm just going to drag a brand new view controller out, and I'm going to drag it underneath this one, and I'm going to release my mouse. Once you have it, you can click in the area down below, and we're going to make it orange. So I'm going to go down here, click on the box itself, and we're going to go to orange. Which one's orange? Is that orange? That looks red too. We have an orange in there. That's orange? No. We need an orange. Is this one orange? No. I guess we'll have to make our own orange. There we go. Again, I made an orange. So I have one orange one now. So again, to do the navigation, we want to make another item, which would be another tab. And when the person hits that tab, we want it to go to the orange one. So we do it kind of like what we did before with the going from one view controller to another one, where you simply control drag and it'll automatically make a new tab for you. So again, add another item like it says on page 362. I'm going to drag it on the canvas, give an orange background. Next, you'll need to add a new view controller to the view controller array. Control drag from the tab bar controller to the orange view controller and release the mouse for tracking pad button. In the popover, you can see view controllers listed and use listed under relationship segue. Choose option. Okay, so you want relationship segue. So here we go. To make a new tab, to go to this one, we're going to click up here in this view controller, right? This guy right here, tab bar controller. I'm going to hold down the control key on the keyboard and I'm going to drag to this one. See how I got a little blue line that goes from tab bar controller, holding the control key down, and I'm going to release my mouse, and they want you to use the relationship segue, this one right here, that says view controllers. Okay, go to the one that says view controllers, this one right here, and it'll make a new item, and as you can see, it's going to now. Notice how it has two new tabs now. See how it has two new tabs in there. Everybody got that? Okay. So again, you can see the drawing there. In addition, you'll notice you have a new item over here. See this? You got a new item. So we have one, we got the red one, and we got an orange one, and then we have the tab controller. So you have new items here and this. Again, here's the tab bar that you can build. So quite simple, just simply dragging and it makes a new icon automatically for you, and so on. Okay. You should see the tick and tab bar controller, build and run your app. Notice that you can switch between the two view controllers by selecting the different tabs. So they tell you to play. So if we test our tab here, it should come up hopefully if our simulator is working. And we can get to the bottom down here. Uh-oh, it's going to be tight. I guess I can't get to it. I might have to rotate. There we go. So now you have two items. Notice that how it's just called item. There's no icon yet, but you should be able to jump between the two view controllers very easily there. The nice thing about it as well is you don't need the back button, right? You had the back button in the other one. You don't need a back button. Okay, so it's going to be an easier way to build things. It's a little boring way though, I would say. I don't know, maybe not, but let's move on. So let's give it an icon. I'm on page 363 in the book. And so the next thing is we want to give these things some icons so they're not so boring. So how do I do that? Well, you actually do it on the view controller itself. So let's go back to the red one for a moment. So if I click on the red one, you'll notice you have a little icon here that's towards the bottom already. We can zoom in a little bit if you want to see it. There it is. It's down here. It just says item down there. If you click on it up here, you'll notice that you get some bar items here, and if I click down there, you'll see it says item right there. But of course, we don't want it to be called item. If you want to give it a name, you can call it red right there, and it should change and hit return or whatever, and it should change the text. If you don't want the text, you just leave it blank. If I delete this text, you'll just get your icon in there. Okay, so I don't think it's a requirement to have text, but you can. To put an icon in there, you'll notice it says image right there. See where it says image right there? And you can choose, and of course we're doing red, so I'm going to choose R. But of course, they have a variety of other ones in there as well, and they talk about it in the book on page 363. If you want other ones in there, there's actually some pre-made ones up here, and you'll see them up here where it says system items towards the top. So if you didn't want that, you can actually go the favorites one, right? Hey, that's a very popular one, right? So these are kind of override. This is where you customize your own down here. If you don't want to customize your own, you can use the default ones up here. These are ones that we normally have: contact, search, downloads, common ones that are used to. But again, if you don't want one of these, you go back to custom, and then you come down here. You can put your text in there, and then you can put your image in there as well. And we're doing, oh, I wonder what my clock looks like. Can we do my clock? Oh, it's too big. Okay, so I did make a mistake, right? Remember, I was like, oh, it probably doesn't matter what size you make. I opened theirs up. They were 28 pixels by 28 pixels. Probably the best to make it that right size. Okay. Hey, we learned. See? You learn by your mistakes. Let's put R in there. You learn by your mistakes. Think about size if you make your own. How about that? Okay, let's continue. That's what they talk about, all the different options up there on page 364. Not change the orientation. Oh, they wanted you to see the orientation. So, if you go to down here to so notice how in the phone orientation it has red underneath there and the R. What they're trying to tell you on page 364 is what I was telling you before on an iPad or something that has a bigger screen. If you come down here, you change the orientation to whatever, landscape. Notice how the text is on the side now. We don't need to do that. I'm going to go back. I'm just pointing that out so that you know it. That's what they talk about on page 464. And let's move on. Because it says the landscape, of course, has a smaller bar. And then, of course, we customize it, as you can see there on page 365. They talk about customizing your options. So let's do and change the orange one. I'm going to go down to orange one, and of course, we're going to call this orange. And we're going to change the image to the O. So change the red one to a red, and then change the orange one to orange. And then they talk about a badge on page at the last of their. So in this case, there is a badge, and that badge is a way of customizing. So they have this idea here. Again, I'm on page 365 here, to customize tab bar items. Maybe the system items don't make sense to your app. You can use an attributes inspector to customize an item's label and its image for both unselected and selected states. If you want your tab bar item to indicate a new information is available for that view or model, you can put a small red thing known as a badge to the item. Use the badge attribute. So that's like when you have a new email, right? Sometimes it tells you, hey, you got new things or something like that. This is basically, I think what they're trying to say is you can use this somehow, either programming ways or something, where you can put a message up there. And so if you put, like they have the tab there, you'll notice you get a little red. You ever notice that sometimes when you get a new message on your email and stuff like that, or you're looking at it, it has like a little message up there? So that's sort of what they're talking about. They call it a badge. And that's at the end of the last screen on page 365. And they use there. I guess you could put anything in there. How about a question mark? Can we put a question mark in there? Where's the question mark? We have a question mark on the keyboard. Oh, here it is. Put that in there. Yeah, see a question mark in there. Can we write a message in there? New for a new item. Oh, new. There we go. Let's move on. they put a I for the red one. So let's do that. So I'm going to go back to the red one, and they have the explanation point for the red one. So I'm going to follow the tutorial here. So they have an explanation point for the red one. So storyboards are ideal for setting up initial or default view scenes, but they don't allow you to make runtime adjustments using the attributes inspector. That's okay. You can accomplish any of these customizations in code. For example, imagine you want to alert your user to new information that's available. Your app would have to update the badge at runtime. To assign a badge in code, set the badge value property to a non-nil string. You can access your view controller's UI tab bar item instance through the tab bar item property. For more explanation, you can reference the UI control documentation. In the view controller.swift, insert the following line in the viewDidLoad function. Run your app in the simulator. You'll notice the red tabbed item now has a badge. So instead of, I guess, doing it here, which would be probably all the time, you only want to give them the message when they get new information. They said you can do that through the code. So if we go into our view controller here, I guess you could go and where did they say put it here after the viewDidLoad, right? Somewhere right there. And then they did the what is it? Tab bar item dot badge value equals, and then they put an exclamation point in there. Uh-oh. There we go. So I guess of course you would have some programming that probably loads new data in, especially if they got a new email or something like that. Then you would give them the exclamation point. They're just pointing out there. Let's run it and see if my exclamation point shows up. Or in my landscape mode. There it is. So we got a little guy there. Okay. The badge will draw your user's attention to the tab. After they're viewed the new information, the badge is no longer necessary. To remove the badge, assign a nil value to the badge value property. So after, of course, it loads, you can just give it a nil. I'm just gonna comment that out for right now. I don't think it's important right now. It's just they were pointing out how to program it. Okay. Even more tabbed icons. You've probably noticed that the current version of your project doesn't live up to its rainbow tabs name. By adding 3 more colors and 3 more tabs, a tab will display a tab bar item as long as there's enough horizontal space. Oops. And so let's make some more. We got a yellow, green, and blue one. So I'm going to go back to the main storyboard there. I'm going to zoom out so I got some space. And we can kind of drag them around. I'm going to kind of drag the red one there. And then they have the orange one there. Then, of course, we got a new one. Let's make a new one. And this one we will make yellow, right? Yellow. Is there yellow in here? Is that yellow? Ooh, that's like greenish yellow. That's pretty ugly. How about we make a real yellow? That's better. And then let's drag another one out. And then they have one that is green. Green. Oh, gotta click on it. Go on, click. We want green. No, we gotta say other. And say green. And then we want another one, and let's say blue. There we go. There's the colors of the rainbow. Again, to link them all up, if you remember how to link them up, you go to the this one up here. Let's zoom in a little bit. So to link them up, I'm going to use the control key. I'm going to click in here, control click there. And remember, view controllers is the relationship segue right there. Do you see that? So we got one. Again, control click, view controllers, and then control click, view controllers. Then of course we have a yellow, so let's customize our thing here. So this is going to be yellow, and of course the image is going to be Y. And then we have green. And that's going to be green. And the image is going to be G, big G. And then here we go for blue. We're going to call that one blue. And the image is going to be a big B, little b. Just like in Dr. Seuss. You guys remember big B, little b? Okay. Again, if you test your scene, or test your you should have your orange, yellow, green, blue, yellow, orange. Okay, so
You don't need the exclamation point?
no, I got rid of that. That was just, they were just explaining what you were to do. Okay, so we have a nice simple navigation bar now, and as you can see, it's pretty simple. But what if you add one more? Again, on page 368, they talk about, hey, what if you run out of space? What if we add another one? Of course, they want you to add a purple one. So let's add a purple one. So I'm going to do one more. Let's make this background color purple. Purple. And then let's link to it. And again, view controllers. And then this one's going to be purple. And then, I don't know, is there a P in there for purple? I don't think there is one. So I guess it doesn't matter. Or we can make a custom one if you want. How about we make it our favorites? I don't know, I just added one in there. So here's the problem. Now it doesn't have enough room. If you add one in there, and it doesn't have enough room, it's going to go through and it's going to add a more option. See how it says more. So if it doesn't have enough room for all the tabs, it automatically adds a more option. If you click on there, you'll see I have my blue one now under there, and my favorites is the one I just made. Notice how it goes to the more option here. There's a more tab here. But you can still get the yellow down there. So this is kind of the default navigation if you don't have space. So that was on page 368. Okay, let's continue. Run your app and check it out. We just did. And it just did. Just what happened as you add more controllers, the tab can display the tab controller inserts a special view controller known as the More View Controller. This view controller is listed the omitted view controllers in the tab, which can expand to accommodate any number of items. Woo! You can have a whole bunch. Not sure. The More View Controllers is unusual. It can be customized or selected. It doesn't appear among the view controllers managed by the tab controller. It appears only when needed and is otherwise separated from the rest of your content. The More View Controller can be quite useful in displaying additional tab items, but also consider that a More tab requires more time and effort from the user. A much better practice is to plan your app carefully so include only essential tabs. The minimum number necessary for your app is information hierarchy. For an iPhone app, 5 is generally considered the maximum. For iPad-only apps, you can add a few more. They don't tell you a number, though, for iPad, do they? It depends on the iPad size, right? They got the iPad Pro, you get the iPad 10-inch, right, and things like that. So it probably depends on the size. Okay, let's add some Swift files. So if you want to program to this, you got to add a different subclass for each tab, because if you're programming, they all have to have their own programming thing. They're their own view controller programming for each view controller. So let's talk about that again. I'm on page 370 in the book. How to add a view controller Swift file for each one. So currently only the controller with the red view can be customized with code because it's the only controller that uses a UI view controller subclass. That subclass is called view controller, and it was created as part of the single view application template. At some point, you're going to want to add new functionality to the other view controllers, such as fetching data or managing a user account. Regardless of the view controller's responsibility, there's a high chance you'll need to use code in order to perform a task. This means you'll add additional UI view controller subclasses for each of the different colored scenes. Again, you have to add a new programming for each one. Begin by renaming the existing view controller class to something more descriptive, such as red view controller. Update the class definition and the name the view controller Swift file to red view controller. The file name does not have to match the class name, but it makes sense. They're saying just to, of course, to change it. So in this case, the only one, I'm going to close this window right here. So the only one that actually has anything that's going on is the actual red one right here. Since the red one was the first one, this one actually has a view controller attached to it, which is this one right here. So what they're talking about here is changing the name here by changing red right there, by giving it a name, red view controller right there. And then of course changing it here to red view controller as well over here. So you can change it here to red view controller there. Or in this case over here, if you select the red one here, you go over here to, I believe here, and then you choose red view controller here. Red view controller there. So if you remember the custom class right here, see it over here, right? This guy right here and this guy right here. You need to make this association with the new one that we just renamed right here. So this is red view controller Swift, right? I actually changed it in the code as well right here to say red view controller there. But also in the main storyboard, when I select the red one here and make it blue, see how I made it blue there? If I come over here to the custom class right here, you need to give it up here as well so that it knows which one's associated with it, if that makes any sense. And then you would do that with all the other ones. So let's make a new one. Let's turn the page here. The custom class, what I just showed you, was on at the top of page 371. Top of page 371 is where I did it. You'll need to update the red view controller class from the view controller to red view controller. Well, since view controller class no longer exists, highlight the red view controller in the document outline, then use the identity inspector. That's where we're at. That's at the top of page 70 is what I just did right there. And make sure that the red view controller name is in there.
What do you have to rename for that?
Oh, how I renamed it? Again, I renamed it here by changing it by clicking on it and then put red in front there. And then I went inside the code here and I changed it here, right? In the code right here. And then I went to the main storyboard. I selected the red one here to make it blue. Click on the top up there and then make sure the class is red view controller there. It's at the top of page 370 in the book. Now you're ready to add a new view controller project for the other ones. Of course, you need one for your different orange one and so on. So to make a new one for the orange one now, I'm going to go File, New, File, and we're going to choose Cocoa Touch. I believe that's what they said, right? Yeah, Cocoa Touch class, and then go Next. And then, of course, it's not going to be table view controller, is it? You want a UI view controller. So this one's going to be a UI. Where's UI? UI view. Oh, here it is. UI view controller. And of course, this one we're going to call Orange. ORANGE. Orange view controller. So again, change this to UI view controller here. And change this to orange view controller there. It's on page 371 in the book. There's a diagram there. And then say Next, and then of course save it where your other ones are. It should automatically go to the right folder because this is where the red one's at. Say Create. Okay, it should be here. So again, then you need to make sure that you don't need to change the name here because it automatically did it when we made it. But what you need to do is go to the main storyboard, right? Click on the orange one right there, then go up here where the class is under the inspector right there, and then you're going to say orange. Is there orange in there? Oh, there it is. Orange view controller. Then, of course, they say do it for each one. So if you are quick and fast, you can do it pretty quick. You would do it for yellow, green, blue, and purple. So again, go under File, New, File. We would go to Cocoa Touch. We change this. Oh, it already says View Controller there. We're going to do yellow. Right there, yellow View Controller. Say Next. Save it in the right spot. Click on the yellow one in the main storyboard right here. Go over here to this and choose yellow. It's at the bottom because it's alphabetical. Then, of course, you make another one for the green one. Cocoa Touch. Next. We're going to do, what did I say? Green View Controller. And save it in there. And then go to your main storyboard. Choose your green one. Go over here. And we're going to go green View Controller there. And then, boy, we're going, look how fast we're going. We're going File, New, we got a Cocoa Touch. We're going to give this one a blue View Controller. Say Next. Say Create. And then, of course, we're going to click on the main storyboard. We're going to click our blue one, and we're going to go over here to Blue View Controller. And then last one for purple, we got one more file. We're going to go to Cocoa Touch. We're going to choose our purple View Controller, say Next, and then save it, and then click on our purple one in the main storyboard, and go over here to the Inspector class here, and we're going to choose our purple. There we go. Okay, so now you have a different Swift file for each scene that you have, or each subclass that you have there, and you should be able to jump between each one and program each one separately. Remember, sharing the data is a little bit hard. That's why last week we talked about the delegate, right? So I'll pause this for just a second. So now we have our whole rainbow of colors. Skittles, we should have called this project Skittles. Okay, challenge the tab bar controller uses 3 navigation controllers as its view controls. Each navigation controller's root view controller should be one of the colored view controllers. And then they go right into lab is the next page. The objective of this lab is to use the tab bar controller to display different modes of information or operation. You can create an app that displays distinct types of information about yourself in separate tabs. This app is similar to the Hello app you created earlier. Feel free to use some of the same images and information. Create a new project called About Me using a single view application and template. So after we just did all that, they want you to now do a lab. With 3 view controllers and so on and so on. Let's do the test questions. You guys ready? Okay, let's do the test questions. Here we go. Match the system item image with its title. So more is going to be what? This one, right? More is this one. How do I match it? Oh, I got to drag it. There we go. More goes there. Contacts is what? This one, right? And then search is this one. That's quite easy. And then the most recent is this one. Or no, that's favorites, isn't it? Oh, that is favorites. And then what's it? Time is the most recent? Yeah. Oh, okay. Check answers. Woo! 100%. A+. What property would you modify if you wanted to add a badge to the tab? Badge value, right? Remember we did badge value with the exclamation point, right? What value would you assign to the previous answer to hide a badge? That would be nil, right? So we would do nil. Okay, and then when should you use a tab bar controller? When your app has a distinct modes? When you want to present many different tools to the user? When you want to navigate from one view controller to another within the same context? When you want your app had distinct modes? Kind of like the clock app, right? How about we fix our icons and make our own icons for this lab? You guys want to do the lab? Okay, let's do the lab. We'll do it together, but we'll make our own icons. How about that? I want to make sure that I can make an icon that's the right size. Okay? So they want us to make a personal app, kind of like the Hello app. So again, I'm going to make my own icons, maybe make a Raskoff, and then a hobby one, and then we want 3 tabs. What do you want to do? About me, hobby, and what else? What's my hobby?
Where I live.
There you go. Location. Yeah, how about that? Okay, so let's go make our own tabs. So here, let me pause this recording and we'll start a new one. Okay, let's start a new project. We'll do the lab that is on page 372. Again, I want to make my own icons for this. I'm going to use Illustrator. Since I'm lazy, I'll steal some icons like we did before. Again, I'm going to steal them from the nounproject.com. And of course, we were going to do, what did we say? Person. So let's get a person one. I don't like any of these. How about this one? I like this one. I'm going to go with this guy with a hair because he has more hair than me. So I'm lying to myself here. Okay, well, maybe my kids will have nice hair like this, so how about that? So again, I'm going to steal this one by making a screen capture. And, uh-oh, I didn't do that right. Let me do it again. I was close. I'm going to screen cap. Oh, that's better. Screen capture this. Then what else were we going to do? We were going to do hobbies, right? Hobbies. Hobbies. What, bowling? Is there a generic hobbies icon? I guess there's not, huh? Is there a generic hobbies icon? Maybe this one? Puzzles? No. Does anybody know if there's a generic hobbies icon? Or things I like to do? How about things? Is there things?
Favorite.
What's it? Oh, favorites? Things. Favorites? Or we could just use the favorites icon, right? You want to use the pre-made favorites icon?
There's the one with the heart would be things you like to do.
Yeah, this one? Favorites? Favorites? Yeah, I don't like the star one.
How about the heart that's made out of stitches?
That's too small. I'd have to use this one. This is bigger and bulkier. Okay, I'll do the heart one. There we go. We'll steal this one. Can make that inside of Illustrator really easily. And then what else? What is the last one? Location. Oh, the standard thing that goes down, huh? This one. Standard location. There we go. Okay, so I stole 3 graphics. I'm going to go in Illustrator. This time I'm going to start with my new icon, hopefully doing it properly. So instead of points, we're going to use pixels for the measurement in the new option. So I went into Illustrator, said File, New in Illustrator. I'm going to choose pixels over here, and I'm going to make sure that my color space is RGB. Oh, I didn't want to do that yet. Hold on, that was a mistake. Hold on. Let's go again. File, New in Illustrator. This time I'm going to say pixels here, and of course we're doing, what did I say? Theirs was like 28 pixels by 28 pixels, I think. I think it was 28 by 28, like that. And then of course color mode should be RGB. If set into the more settings, there should be RGB right there. And then create document.
Wait, how big did you make it? 28?
28 pixels by 28 pixels. Here again, File, New, pixels here, and then I did 28 pixels by 28 pixels there. And then RGB down here under Advanced Options, choose RGB right there.
Wait, you have more option here, such as
You might need to pull this up, see, up, down,
the
down,
left side.
left side, over here.
Yeah, I do.
Did you?
From my, start from the left one.
Did you go file new?
Yeah.
File new, and this says recent. You might have one of these selected up here. Can you, is there a custom option up there? Are you able to change this? 28 by 28 pixels? Let me see.
They're starting with, I don't like the way they're changing.
Yeah, they did. It doesn't matter. Just go type in 28. Just type in 28. 28. 28. Make sure you put the PX in there. Space. PX. And then we're under advanced. Twirl to advanced. And make sure it's RGB. That's fine. And hit create. There you go. That's right. Square. Okay, everybody got one? 28 by 28 pixels? Let's try and make our icons correct. So again, I have one here. There we go. So I have one to bring my object in, or the stolen artwork that I stole. I go under File, New, or not New, I'm sorry, Place, File, Place, and I'm going to choose my screen capture that's from the desktop. I'm going to do this one first. I can draw a box so it fits inside there. There it is. And then to convert it to vector, I'm going to go underneath the window image trace option. So in the image trace option inside of here, I'm going to go to the advanced option right there, and I'm going to say ignore white right there. And then I'm going to hit preview, and it should then make it into a vector-based whatever vector-based thing. Then if you want to manipulate it,
Jeff, that's the hardest part.
what's that?
Slow down for a sec.
Okay.
Finding the image trace is always hard.
Okay, go under Windows, Image Trace, right there. And it might be done over here. It's probably jammed over here somewhere, right? Because if I go to default settings here we go. If we go all back to default workspace, where's my default? Reset. It's on automation. I'm gonna go to Essentials. There we go. Where's Essentials? View. Where was it at? Arrange. Oh, here, Workspace, Essentials. And so if I'm in Essentials, which is kind of the default one, you have all the stuff jammed over here, right? And so when you go in, here we go. And so if I'm in Essentials right here, and I want to find image trace, if I go under Window, Image Trace, what's going to happen is it's probably jammed down here somewhere like that. So in order to drag it out so that you can use it, you put your cursor over the word and just drag out, and it should drag that pop-up window out. So if it's jammed somewhere over there, you can drag it out. Then, of course, we're using black and white as the option. And I'm using, there's a little advanced option. See the little triangle that points down right there? See it right there? And if you go underneath the advanced option, there's one that should say ignore white, so it doesn't have white inside there. We're going to put white in there eventually. And then preview.
How do you fix it to this size of your window?
Oh, getting the artwork to fit in the window? Here, I can start again. Here, let me delete this. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put my artwork in there by going under File, Place, and then I'm going to choose my screenshot. The screenshot with my little, it's on the desktop. When you take a screenshot, it goes to the desktop. I'm going to choose it here, and I'm going to hit Place. Then it gives you a little box here that you can draw. So I'm going to kind of draw from the corner, draw it till it fits to the bottom. Then I'm going to release my mouse, but it's still bitmap. So we need to convert it to vector. To convert it to vector, we go and go to Image Trace. If you don't see Image Trace, it's under Window, Image Trace. Once it's under Image Trace right there, then we can go to where it says Image Trace. I'm going to use black and white, and I'm going to use ignore white, and I'm going to hit Trace or hit Preview. It does it. You guys got that now?
How do you know it actually did it?
Because I'm gonna unlink this. Right now it sees it as one big thing. To unlink it so that it's by itself, you go underneath Object, Expand, if you say object expand, you'll notice that it says, hey, do you want to expand? I say yes. And now it sees this as the artwork.
So ignore white has to be checked. Right?
Well, ignore white will get, if you don't say ignore white, the white will be inside its face in this case. And I don't want it in there because I'm going to make a new white box that kind of covers the whole thing. Remember with the round edge corners, right? So I don't want anything in there. I'm going to make a new thing. Okay, here's how I'm going to make a new thing. Okay, so this is cool the way it is right there. I'm going to put a black line that goes all the way around with white on the inside, or it doesn't need to be white inside. I think we can even make it transparent as well. But I'm going to make a black line that goes around it. If you want white in there, you can, I think, leave it in there. I don't know. Let's see what theirs looks like.
What about background white?
Making
Background, because if you don't ignore white, will that show up in the icon?
it would if you say, if you don't check ignore white, it would make a piece of artwork in here. So yeah, you would have white in here. Yeah, if you want white in there, I don't know, you just try it.
Also the surrounding white.
No, that would be transparent.
Oh, those are transparent either
Yeah.
way.
So let's put a black line around this like on theirs. So I might make this a little smaller. I'm gonna make this a little smaller. I'm gonna make it a little smaller. If you looked at their icons, they had like a little black line that went around.
You mean a box?
Yeah, like a box, but with round edges.
The round edges?
Yeah, so here, let's look at one of their samples. Let's look at one of their samples. Here we go. So, like, let's look at the G. So here's a G selected. It's black with white on the inside, right? Just a plain G like that. Then if we bring up the other one, G selected, or G not selected, you'll see that it is a black G with a black line there. See that?
So do we have to make two icons for everything selected?
I'm gonna bring up my tools, huh?
Jeff, it didn't talk about the selected and non-selected in the lab, I mean in the exercise.
I think by default,
It knows what to do.
if you named it selected, I think that's how it knows. I think by the name, I think so.
That was kind of an important piece of information they left out.
Yeah, I understand. I'm assuming. How about that? So, where is my tools? Why don't I see tools over here? Where is my tools? Tools. Tools. How come I don't see tools? Tools. How do I bring my toolbar back? There it is. Whatever. I went to Workspace Essential Classic. Yeah, see, it's transparent, so they don't have any color in there at all. So there's a black line that's transparent. So let's make, again, I'm going to use a round rectangle. To change the corner radius of the round rectangle, you should be able to use the info window that's under window info. Or not info, what am I trying to say? Properties window, I'm sorry. Window properties. If you bring up the properties window, it should allow you to change the angle. They used to let you do that. I don't know why it's not.
Can't you just click on the screen and it gives you a corner radius?
Yeah, it does. But they used to be able to by hand go and adjust it over here. I don't know why it's not doing it. It says I have that selected. Maybe that's why. Let me see. Click this. Yeah, it doesn't have. It doesn't have it anymore. Used to be able to choose the radius. So again, I'm going to use the round rectangle, and if you just click once, don't drag, just click, it should make a round rectangle with a corner radius here. I have mine at 48 pixels, which is pretty big, I think. I don't know, I'm going to go down to, let's say, 12. And let's hit OK. Whoosh! It made it kind of big. Oops. And then I'm going to scale it down. Oh, I guess we could have made it the right size. Let me try that again. So I'm going to click on it. Just click on, it's a round rectangle. Let's click on the screen. We're going to do what do we have? This is, how big is my thing? 28 pixels, right? By 28 pixels. And then Yeah, let's try 12 as a corner radius. Let's see. Boom. Oh, that's way too much radius. Okay, how about we do it again? Click again. Let's do 3. Oh, that looks better. Okay, so I did 12 pixels by 12 pixels. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put it inside there, inside the box, and I don't want it like this. I just want a stroke. So I'm going to switch the color here. See how we got a fill and a stroke? I don't want fill color. I want a stroke color. There's a little arrow right here. You can switch it. Boom, like that. Now here's the other problem is that the stroke is going through the center of this. I want the stroke only to be on the inside of this. So I'm going to bring up the stroke window here. And in the stroke window, you can tell it where you want the thing to go. And I want it only on the inside. Boom, like that. And the stroke is on the inside. So see if you can do that again. I did 12 pixels by 12, or no, 28 pixels by 28 pixels. Then I lined it up so it fit within my rectangle, which is the same rectangle. And then I went to the stroke option, and right here is an option that says align to inside. So now that the thing would be perfect in the box. Again, this option here. If you don't see stroke, go to Window, Stroke. Choose inside. Oh, you guys can't see that over there. I'm sorry. And we don't need this anymore. There we go. How about that? Okay, you got it on the inside? Is it perfect? Is it beautiful? Okay, now we need to make the selected one, right? This is the normal one, right? And then the selected one would be the solid black, right? So let's save this one. I'm going to save this one, save as, and I don't know, put it somewhere. We're doing, we're going to do about me, right? About me app. How about that? And so I'm going to use PDF as the format. So under File, Save As, change to PDF, find a format, and this is going to be person, right there, person. And then let's do the opposite. So we're going to make this solid black. So I'm going to make this solid black. This box, solid black. Ooh, why is it white? I thought I made it black. Solid black. There we go. And then I'm going to send that to the back. Under Object Arrange, Send to Back. Then I'm going to grab the dude on the inside and make that all white. There we go. How about that? So just kind of flip the colors around. How you flip the colors around is you can select the rectangle, and you might need to make sure that that's all the way in the back. So remember, Illustrator works by objects that are on top of each other. So I need to send this one all the way to the back. So I'm going to select my rectangle, round rectangle, and I'm going to say Object Arrange, Send to Back. So it's all the way in the back. Okay. Then I'm going to click on the artwork that's here, and right here is where you can change the color. So if I click on the artwork, I can double click here and change the color to white. Okay, I'm going to make only one icon. The rest of them I'm going to just use presets. I'm lazy now. Once we make one, we can figure it out. So this is going to be the selected one, right? So this is going to be person, and then they have a space the way they name it, S-E-L-E-C-T-E-D, selected. So hopefully that is how you program it. They did fail to leave that out like Susan said. Okay, so hopefully this works. You guys ready to go to Xcode? I'm just going to use default ones for the other ones. I don't feel like time to go through. If this one works, hey, we know we can make our own icon.
Save as PDF.
PDF, yeah. So I have two of them, right? I have one that's normal and one that's selected. And then they didn't show us how to change the color. It was pure blue, right? What if I wanted it to be a different color than blue? Like on the clock one was there's orange, right? Remember it was orange? And what if you wanted to change the tab bar, they didn't tell you that either, to a separate color, right? They didn't tell us that either. Okay, let's get to Xcode then. Let's see if it worked. So I'm going to make a new project. I'm going to close this one. And hide this one. So in Xcode, I'm going to make a new project, and this will be an about me. I'm going to use the same single app view, and this will be about me, and then say next, and I'm going to choose my about me is on the desktop app. And then let's bring in the artwork for that I just made. So I'm going to bring in my artwork that I just made. There's 2 of them. There they are. They look a little smaller, so they look like they're going to work. Remember when I tried the other one, it was kind of big. So I have 2 pieces of artwork. So in my app, I'm gonna make 3 different scenes, and then we'll do something. So again, I'm gonna go to the main storyboard. Of course, you can change the color like they did if you want. I'm gonna use a color background if you want. So under attributes, we can give it a color background. One thing you might want to try doing is using a gradient background. Can we do that? Ooh, no, that's not a gradient, is it? How about orange? No. How about pink? Oh, there we go. I'm going to give it a color background anyways. Okay, if you remember how to make the tabbed option is you click on the actual view controller, and then we're going to attach it to there. So to attach our thing, we're going to go underneath editor, embed in tabbed bar controller. Remember that from the tutorial? And of course that adds it in there, and we have 1 view controller so far, and we got 1 item. So the first one will be about me. So I'm going to change the icon here by clicking on this option right here, and let's see if my icon works. We're going to choose person. Oh, it did work. And we'll call this about me, but it's just blue. I don't know how to change the color. Be nice. Probably have to go and into code and change the color. But my icon looked pretty good. What do you think? See if you can make your icon work.